Hi folks, welcome to Economic Observations. My name is Chris. Today is the 15th of July and thank you so much for being here. Today's video is sponsored by the Tanzania School Fdn, a nonprofit near and dear to my heart. Thank you to all of my new subscribers and viewers. I'm delighted that you're here. Today we're going to talk about the Fed. How powerful is the Fed? And what exactly does the Fed do? So anyway, in 2008, the Fed really became famous for its quantitative easing and lowering of interest rates. It's amazing that a committee can actually do so much harm, potentially, or so much benefit to an economy. In 2008, they implemented the largest financial experiment ever done in the history of the world. You got that right. It is an experiment. When everyone was losing their jobs and people were losing their homes, the Fed decided that they had to do something to help the American people. The unintended consequence of helping the American people was that all the money had to go through the financial institutions, and thus making the financial institutions very wealthy. In 2010, they had to inject more quantitative easing because the market was still unstable. You see, in the United States, the majority of people do not own their own home, and the majority do not have investments in the stock market or a 401k. The biggest asset that citizens in the United States have is their job. Many don't even have a $400 rainy day fund, but their job was their best asset, and the Fed was committed to having people remain in their jobs. I don't think people recognize how close we were to the greatest depression of all times. What the Fed did was they lowered interest rates. They injected so much money. What had happened in the economy was its lungs collapsed. The economy couldn't breathe anymore. And the Fed resuscitated it by injecting trillions of dollars. The intention was that lower interest rates would spark borrowing and spending throughout the economy. And the Fed was trying to inject money at cheaper rates into the hands of the American people. You know, the Fed was literally flying the plane at the same time they were driving. What has happened since then? That was 2008. And in 2010, more quantitative easing was done to bail out shadow banks and other corporations and financial institutions. The slogan is, don't mess with the Fed if you're on Wall Street, because Wall Street is rewarded for risky behaviors. So why am I saying all this? Because quantitative easing is just alchemy, folks. It's like abracadabra and you have money. But what the Fed really is doing is creating an environment for corporations and Wall Street that it just can't fail. They're privatizing gains and socializing losses. Is this free markets, folks? This is not a free market. And they're not out to save your losses. People are borrowing from their homes, taking small loans or using their credit cards and buying stocks and cryptos. The government's not going to be there to bail you out. And just because big corporations and financial institutions are making more complex and harder to understand products doesn't mean that we should be investing in them. And I'm afraid that so many people are going to get screwed over this. So many people are in debt that they shouldn't be, thinking that they have all these investments. The Fed is propping up Wall Street. They have to turn off QE at some point. But how they calibrate the faucet is going to be one totally different thing. You know, in 2013, they talked about tapering the QE and raising interest rates. And Wall Street had a hissy fit. And they lobby Congress. And they have so much power and so much pull. And they say that if you do that, it will crash the financial institutions of the world. How safe does that really make you feel? You think these are good investments? They're sound? What happens if the Fed's not there anymore? The Fed is easily turning off Main Street America. Moratoriums are ending, forbearance is ending, unemployment is ending. But they're not turning it off for most of the major corporations and institutions of the country. But they're turning it off for everyday Main Street Americans, the very people that this QE was supposed to help. I'm going to tell you one thing. They're not turning it off for Wall Street. And they're not turning it off for corporations who are buying back their stocks by the trillions of dollars. This is not fair. And when people talk about that this is a capitalistic society, well, it should be. But why are you socializing losses? They're not doing it to your loss. Sure, they're trying to give money out for, cheap prices, and they're trying to help people with rental assistance, and SBA's trying to help with PPP and EIDL grants and all that stuff. But it's minimal compared to what big corporations are getting. Be weary, folks. How much power does the Fed have? They have too much power right now. And they are under a lot of stress because they want interest rates to go up. They want the economy to do better. They want to get the money into the hands of the American people. And maybe a digital currency is what will get them there. But what will happen to the financial institutions should that happen? This is not going to end well. That's all I'm just trying to tell you. Like, people don't understand. They think that alchemy is real. Abracadabra. It's a great big hat trick, right? But it's no one knows if it's going to work. What are your thoughts? Get prepared, folks. Go move in with a friend, live with family, find something else, lower your expenses, save your money, sock it away in a sock drawer. I don't care what you do with it. Buy some gold and silver. It's been resilient. But the stock market, cancel that margin. Don't borrow to the hilt. And as for crypto, I'm indifferent. I bought it in 2015. There's really no downside for me. I don't know about you folks, but the Fed pumping things to historic levels doesn't make me feel comfortable. Right now, the Fed has the housing market, the stock market, and the bond market all at the same time. Sooner or later, these asset prices have to come down. We are playing with fire with all three simultaneously. Get prepared, folks. We are in uncharted territory. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for watching. Give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, and we'll talk again real soon.